you want to grow and change for the better, and you
Mm-hmm.
want to excel. You never want to go backwards.
Hey, sis.
Hey.
How are you doing and how was your week so far?
It was great. Celebrated a birthday, so yay.
Yay. Happy birthday again. And
Thank you,
well,
thank you.
oh, you're welcome. It's hump day. So it's the middle of the week, which is good.
That's true.
We're almost
Yes,
to the end.
yes.
This week has been
Oh
pretty
yeah.
okay. Just ready for
Oh,
the weekend, like always.
oh yeah, no, and by the way, I love the Easter basket you made for your daughter. That is
Oh,
so
thank
cute.
you. Thank you. She loved it too. She just tore it apart, even though I had put all that work together to put it together. But, it's okay. That's what kids do.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
But
So
yes.
I am excited to get into this topic today. Are you ready for this?
Oh, girl, I am always ready.
Yeah, so today we're going to be talking about the connection between growth and healing and how both are pretty much essential with moving forward.
That's a really good topic. And so I can go off basically starting off with my backstory of how I can talk about my growth and healing. Basically, starting off like growing up, I grew up in a really like fitness and sport type of family. So we were always into sports and always into like our body image. And so growing up with that type of mindset, it put in my mind like I had to have a certain type of body and eat a certain type of way and just live a certain type of lifestyle to keep up with that lifestyle. And so since that was embedded in my head, like with me being an athlete from middle school all the way up to college, and then when I stopped playing sports, I would just still focus on fitness. With me like being like that, that's all I knew. So I can say that throughout the years, like once I got pregnant, I gained over like, because I was 155 and I got to 232 when I got pregnant. And, and so with me gaining all that weight, and then after having my baby, I was still in the 200s. I only probably dropped, I would say 20 pounds, but I was still in the 200s. And that's the most that I ever weighed in my whole life. So with me being that heavy, it definitely mentally like messed me up and messed with me because I'm like I never been this heavy, so I never knew how to like adjust to it.
Sorry, don't mean to cut you off, but I know that
Oh yes.
is like a big mental complex with women is
Mhm.
it's a beautiful thing to have children, of course, but it's just
Mhm.
that weight and just the changing of your body as a whole after is what
Mhm.
really puts women into like where it literally could put you into a depression because you're used to your body looking one way and operating a certain way, and then boom, you have a child, which is a complete blessing. But then it's like now your body has to learn how to start reworking again. And so I
Mhm.
totally can understand. I mean, I don't have kids of my own just yet, but I totally understand like where you're coming from of like the body changing. Like, I don't know. I guess it's like a feeling I can just like empathy feel. I don't know.
No, no, and I understand where you're what you're meaning. And so yes, it is something that a lot of women do deal with because our bodies do change. And some women can just snap back like this. But like unfortunately I wasn't one of those women. So it affected me for a while to the point where like you know how I used to always dress up and everything. I always was like
Yeah.
dressing up and showing like at least like my figure. But once when after I had my baby, like I was always wearing either my husband's or my late husband's clothes, or either just always buying like baggy clothes or sweats and stuff. And so I felt like I lost myself after when I gained all that weight. And it took me a while until like different people talked to me and my husband even talked to me because he was like, you have to love your body because I love your body the way it is. You gave birth. And it's okay if your body is not going to be back to the way it was. By him telling me that and other people telling me that, it made me realize, you know what? They're right because I gave birth, and that is a blessing to give birth to somebody And I just had to embrace what they call the mom bod. so,
Yes, yes.
I didn't realize, like, I thought I was still like I was gonna get over the whole fitness and having that fit body, but I guess I didn't still realize I was carrying it until now. Like, I still look in the mirror or I look at old pictures of myself and I'd be like, man, I used to be so fit and small, and everybody used to always talk about my body and looked up to my body. And I know I lost a lot of like weight from where I was after I had birth, but it's like still I know it's not the same where I was. And I'm getting
Yeah.
to a point where I'm realizing that it's okay if it's not going to be the same.
Yeah,
And
and and that's just with growing in general too, because
mhm.
our 30 plus bodies is not going to be the same as our teen or 20-year-old bodies. And when
Mhm.
we get to the senior
Mhm.
citizens situation, our senior citizen body is not going to look the same as our 30s. So it's like we're constantly, going to be changing and having to evolve, and it's best to, I think, start young with
Mhm.
accepting the fact that things are not always going to be the same. Because if you get that mental complex going now, then as you get
Mhm.
older, it'll be more. I think it'll be easier to accept it. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, like with me, and I'll let you finish too. But like with me, weight wise, I mean, I struggled with my weight for since I was a kid. I didn't really have um, an athletic body per se because I wasn't in sports. Not heavy as like you or anything, but I did have I had a mental issue with my weight at a young age. And I had to really just grow into accepting what I am. Like I of course I would work out and every now and then I would diet and stuff like that, but of course, diets and working out, they never really lasted with me. But at some point I did come to a agreement or some type of comfort level to where I was like, you know what, I'm actually proportionate for my size. There is room for some improvement. There's always room for improvement, but I'm actually okay with how I look. Like, I'm not going to try and compare myself with unattainable goals of trying to be something that my body never was. So, I mean, that's just my take on it, just because we were talking about weight. So it's like, I kind of want to chime in there.
Oh no, and that's a good no, that's good that you chimed in and expressed what you went through as well, because I mean there's some people who been through what you've been through too, so I know with them dealing with weight issues and not being like how I was like in fitness and stuff. It takes time, like you say, it takes time to grow and realize like, okay, my body's my body and that's how it is. And so I'm just got to accept it the way it is. And the reason I say that too, because it can affect like relationships, because it was affecting like my marriage, because my husband was like, he was like, you got to stop talking down on yourself. I mean, I still love you the way you are. You gave, birth to my daughter, so you don't need to be hard on yourself, and you just need to, like he always tell me, you need to work out if you want to make a difference. Which I do understand that. It's just I dealt with postpartum depression, so that played a part of like me taking like a while just to get motivated. And so with him saying that, it shows that there's people who understand, and people who know that sometimes you're not going to be the same, and you got to be able to, I guess, grieve the old version of yourself, because you're not going to be that old version. Like how you were saying, we're not going to be back to our teenage bodies or our early 20 bodies. And so that's something that I am realizing. And of course, like there's still like blocks that have been stopping me as well, like with me losing my husband and just different traumas. It does stop me from motivating me to work out, but I know I'm eventually get back to it, because I do want to get back fit again and live that like lifestyle, because I want to install that in my daughter as well, so she can also be fit as well and have a healthier lifestyle. And so the last thing, I know I'm just rambling on about my
No,
stuff,
you
but
are good,
the
girl.
last
Keep going.
yes, thank you. And so the last thing I just want to say that one thing that people do get wrong about growth is that they always think that it feels good or it looks good, like the process while it is happening. And so what I mean about that, some people think growth is like it's an easy process, but it isn't. It takes like confusion, it takes loss, discomfort, and loneliness, and it just takes time. Like you sometimes have to break before everything does come together. And so just keep in mind that you have to rebuild yourself in order to grow. And so it's okay if it does take longer than you think. As long as you're working towards with growing and healing, that's all that matters.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. And that makes perfect sense. And thank you for sharing your path to growth and healing.
Thank
Mine is
you.
going to be a little bit different, because mine is dealing with like career base. So basically, after I graduated college, I went straight into my career. And because I was raised on independence, basically not depending on anyone to take care of you but yourself. Like if you get involved with someone, they are only to enhance your happiness, they are not to make you happy. And so
Mm-hmm.
I pretty much live through that till this day. I still live through that. And I think that's what really helped me in my life now. But at that time when I was getting into the work field, there was a huge age gap. and and so I was working with people. These were like my coworkers, my peers, I guess, but they were a lot of times they were a lot older than me. So, because when I first got into my career, I was in like my, I want to say early mid 20s, and a lot of people that I was working with were well out of their 20s. Let's just say that. And so I would literally hear about about stories about their life, because as we get older, we love to tell stories about when we were younger and
Yes.
everything. So that was a
Yes.
good majority of what I was hearing at work. And I was just hearing all these stories of how these people have just lived their lives. And it was actually an eye opener for me, because I realized that I was stuck in, I guess, survivor mode like early on, to where I didn't really take time to really just live. And
Mm,
I was always just focused, like how you were focused on like sports and everything. I didn't have sports, so I focused on just education, and because that was what I had, and so um I was normalizing my independence too much, to where I wasn't allowing my true me I wasn't allowing me to truly live. And I had to realize that
mm,
that's not normal. And so it wasn't until I had briefly left my job and I became an entrepreneur and had my own business. And I literally went from being in that 9 to 5 lifestyle to being, I am my own 9 to 5. Like I create my own hours. And it was definitely a challenge. It was definitely, you know, that's totally that's a topic for a whole different podcast show, but still, but basically it helped me learn a lot, and I
mhm,
grew a lot through it. Like it was a couple years that I did it, of just solely that, and I really learned it. It brought me out of my shell, because I'm naturally a quiet, shy person, but with having my own business and the type of business that I had, you couldn't really be shy. You had to, talk to people. If, in any business, you have to communicate, because networking is key. Like that's all they would say in the workshops and everything. So I had to learn how to come out of that shell. But I realized, me doing that, it was a lot easier when it's something that you really love doing. And I loved my
mhm.
business. I mean, I still do. I still have it. I just don't work in it as much as I used to. But when I never knew that loving your job really existed. I just thought like it is what it is. You go to your job and it is what,
Right.
But when I finally got into that realm of like loving what I did, I was like, wow, I created a whole new level of not necessarily, I mean, yes, a whole new level of achievement and accomplishment, but I unlocked a whole new level of living, and I
Mm,
got to experience that. And so now, with me coming back into my original career, I have that other that other life that detached me away from just that 9 to 5, to where I can talk about it. Like, people, they'll talk about their kids, or they'll talk about, their whatever. And I can talk about my business. And and it's not like I'm trying to flex, but it's like that's not something that a lot of people do. It's
nope.
something that a lot of people talk about doing, or want to do it and
Mm-hmm.
everything, but they don't necessarily always get around to it. And so it's something that I took a leap of faith and went and did it, and I'm so glad, so grateful that I did, because it really did help me. So now when I went back into my career, I have I have a new level of maturity on my shoulders, to where I'm not so quiet from fear of whatever, but I'm quiet because I want to be, because that's just the introvert in me. But I learned how to communicate better. And with me also just growing, it's like I'm growing and living at the same time. And so it's allowing me to
Mm-hmm.
really just become a new me, because like I said, we're always growing and changing, and you want to grow and change for the better, and you
Mm-hmm.
want to excel. You never want to go backwards. So I feel like, no matter what, whether my business was a success or a failure, I feel like it was a success 100%, because I learned from it. Whether it was profitable or not, that's a whole different story, but I really learned from that experience. And so age can play a factor, but it's not everything. And it took me time to get to this point. So I would like to say that if you're still figuring it out, like anyone out there, if you're still figuring it out, no matter what age or phase of life that you're in, you're not behind. You're
Mm,
actually
yeah.
right on
Yeah.
time. You're right on
Mm-hmm.
time. So don't give up, because I didn't start my business until I was 30. And that can, to some that can be young, to some that can be old. It's whoever is listening. But there's people that are way older than me that started their careers and their level of growth too. So it's never a factor that's just based on age. It's always a mental thing, and that's what I would like to get across to people who are listening, because that's what it is. It's all in your head. You can do anything you set your mind to.
And I agree with that. And something that I learned, don't put a timestamp in your life, because things happen when they're supposed to happen. And so, with you, I do want to say that I am proud of you for having your own business, and that motivated me to like to start with me wanted to have my own brand and everything, because like watching you and watching your business flourish, it was like I was like, wow, my sis is really doing it, and I'm really proud because, like you said, I know you were like shy and you're like quiet, so to see you like branch out and to get out there and to see you at like pop up shops and everything, I'm like, I'm
Yeah.
so proud of her. Like she really got out of her shell, and it just tells me like if you can do it, I know I can do it too. Cause I'm shy as well. Like with public speaking and everything, that's like my most downfall thing that I'm trying to work on. And so seeing you get
Mm-hmm.
out of it motivates me. And so with you saying like even though it took you until you were 30, it's okay cuz look at you. Like you got your own business at 30. That's good. And so yeah, like you said, you
Yeah.
guys you guys don't give up. I mean, it's never too late whenever you start. And so I just want to say that I am proud of you, sis.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. You're welcome. And so I do want to get so I do want to change gears a little and get into basically like what I feel like I need to leave behind and what I do need to start carrying forward. So basically like what I need to be leave behind is like the guilt and stop blaming myself about anything in my past because it's something that I can't control. And I have to realize things happen for a reason. And so I just have to know to let go and let God, because at the end of the day, He is going to handle what He needs to handle. And also not to let my imperfections define me, because I used to always worry about how other people think about me and how people see me. And so I need to stop doing that because that just hinders my growth. And lastly, I know I need to stop comparing myself to others because I do that a lot. And I'm working on those things. I'm doing better with not doing what I need to leave behind. And by doing that, and what I am caring for now is learning from my lessons and my mistakes and use them for my growth. So I can be able to also not only teach myself, but teach my daughter too, so she won't make the same mistakes. And also that no one is perfect. I mean, we're all unique in our own ways. And also that self love is important, and to always put myself first and stop putting myself last, and stop
Yeah.
again worrying about what other people think about me, because those are my main
Yeah.
things. And so, how about you,
Yeah.
sis? What do you want to leave behind and carry forward?
Well, real quick with because I do want to piggyback off of what you had said about comparing yourself to others.
Oh,
Like that
okay.
is
Yes.
that is so big because um I used to
Hmm.
do that too. And like because it can go either
Okay.
way, whatever situation you're in. Like I would see like because of course around the
Hmm.
time when we graduated high school and like we're in college and graduating college, like everyone is on their different timetable. And I feel like I mean I guess
Yeah.
it was an average time that I was in school, but it felt like it was so long. And everyone was I just felt like everyone was just bypassing me, and that automatically put me in a funk in a way because I was just like, oh my gosh, like everyone is in their careers and I'm over here still in school, still living at home, and and so it's like,
Yeah.
but once I let that go and I just focused on me and just doing what I needed to get done, like focus on getting done what I needed to get done, then that's when I was able to
Hmm.
fully just really hone in on that in particular. And so that is really big of like comparing, like you never want to compare yourself to someone else's timetable,
Yeah.
because what is meant for them is for them and what is meant for you is for you.
Mm.
So
Amen.
either whether you get started either now or later, it's actually the perfect time for you, because you never know, like you could have been young and had the same timetable as someone else, but you weren't necessarily ready for that blessing, and
Exactly.
you could have ruined it, or took advantage of it in the in the worst possible way. And so it's like, but when things happen, like I'm always just in awe of when blessings happen with me, because it's like when it rains
Hmm.
it pours, and that can be a positive thing. Like those blessings come pouring in, and sometimes it could be like overwhelming in like the best way possible, but
Yes.
it's just I know that when good things are happening to me, it's because I'm ready for it. It's like, and and I guess that's one thing that I'm learning to do before I get to mine. But it's just learning how to accept when good things are happening to me. Just being able to, just appreciate it and welcome it, versus being, like, oh, I'm not good enough for this or whatever, because that goes back to what you were saying earlier of, of how you talk about yourself and everything, and how your husband had to pretty much like tell you like stop talking down on yourself and everything, because literally what you put out there
Mm.
is what you get back. And if you put a whole bunch of
Yep.
negativity out there on you, then that's what you're going to get back. But if you keep putting positivity out there, and and you're one of the most positive people that I know, so
Oh,
I
thank
know that
you.
you're capable of it for sure, hands down. But yeah, if you put
Thank
like a
you.
lot of positivity out there, you're welcome. If you put a lot of positivity out there, that's what you're going to get back, and that's what's most important.
Yes.
With that being said, for me, what I'm leaving behind is
Mm-hmm.
Simple. I'm leaving behind fear. Um, I allowed fear to really take over a good majority of my life, and I'm so done with it. And I'm done. I'm leaving behind the fear of taking the right chances that can get me to the next level.
Mm-hmm.
I am a big dreamer, and it's great being a big dreamer, but until you start putting those dreams into actions, all they are just dreams. And so with me
Amen.
actually dreaming with me actually dreaming of something and going after it, like that's I feel like I can never fail, because the fact is, whether it works out or it doesn't, it's the fact that I went for it and I took that leap.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what matters most to me. So I feel like that's definitely what I'm leaving behind. And I'm already on that path already, because in any job that I take or any lifestyle that I live, I'm I'm definitely making sure that I'm not going in it or not going in it because of fear. And I'm allowing myself to just get outside of my comfort zone. Just because, because
Yeah.
I know it's a cliche, but sometimes you got to get a little uncomfortable to get comfortable. So I am living
Yep.
by that.
Yep. That's true.
And yeah, and so what I'm carrying forward is living my life the way that I see fit. And there's always going to be opportunities that are going to present themselves, to me, to both of us, whatever. But what I am carrying forward is, if it doesn't fit with me or it doesn't fit with us in this podcast or whatever, then I'm not going to accept it. Like, I'm not one to just chase the bag. Like, it is important to have money because, I do have an expensive lifestyle at some points, but I
Oh
digress.
yes.
But
Yes.
but at the end of the day, it's more than just a paycheck. It's about what feeds your soul and what is most important, because you have to live with that. Whatever decision you make, you have to live with it. And if you can't see yourself living with that in a good way, or if you can see yourself looking back on that time frame and it's like, oh, I just want to get rid of that, then it's like, then that obviously wasn't the best decision. And we're not always going to make great decisions, but at the same time, you
Oh,
have to always think of the long term. You have to think of, like, what is going to be something that, for you, like for what you want your daughter to look up to, for my future kids and everything, and of course for ourselves. Like, can we look in the mirror and see greatness, or do we look in the mirror and see disappointment? So definitely, if it doesn't work for me, then I'm not working for it.
and I agree with everything you said. And a lot of people, where they do deal with is fear. And like you said, fear can hold you back from a lot. And that's something that with me too, like I need to start getting out of my comfort zone and stop doing things what I'm comfortable with and actually step out so I can be able to just venture and then also just live life and stop trying to be on edge all the time. I agree with everything what you said. And like you said, if it doesn't work for me, I'm not working for it. That part. Yes.
Yeah. What I want to get across about healing isn't about becoming someone new. It's about coming home to yourself.
Yes.
So you don't necessarily always have to be new year, new me type thing. You just literally have to be your own safety.
Hmm.
And as long as you're comfortable with who you are, then that's all that matters.
Yes, guys, be comfortable in your own skin. Just remember that.
Yes, that
Yes.
part.
Yes. And so, just to conclude this episode, I hope it did resonate with anybody who has been watching it. And so, if you guys can, we would like to also hear your experiences with your growth and healing. And if you guys have friends, we want you guys to share this with them too, so we can hear their experiences as well. And so we do want to thank you guys so much for tuning into our episode, and we do appreciate your views, and we look forward to chatting with you guys soon. Okay, besties? Well, sis.
Yes. Yes.
Well, sis, this was another
Yes.
great episode as always. I'm sorry.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
so
Yeah, girl,
I
we was
do want to.
cooking.
Oh yes, we always cook. We always cook. But yes, guys, thank you so much for tuning in again, and we appreciate you guys a lot. And I love you, sis, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your week.
Thank you. Love you too, sis. All right.
Bye, y'all. Bye. A and A is out.